Hello, I'm Finola from RaaS, and today we're focusing on data and insights and analytics business, Pureprofile, ASX ticker, PPL. And joining me to discuss the FY23 results is CEO and Managing Director Martin Filz and COO and CFO Melinda Sheppard. Welcome back, Martin and Mel.
Thanks,
Thank you very much, Finola. Great to be here.
So I'm going to start with you, Mel. Pureprofile delivered revenue of 43.7 million, up 23%, and underlying EBITDA of 4.7 million, up 43%, and a return to double-digit margins. The result was driven by very strong growth in the SaaS platform and expansion globally. How are you balancing costs with the growth demands of the business?
Yeah, well, great question. I mean, I think the way that Martin and I think about it is we're continuing to invest with a really disciplined approach in the business. So we think we've got the balance right between investment and revenue growth. And I think that that's been demonstrated in our results over the last couple of years. And I think the other really important lens is that we're really committed to moving the company towards profitability. And so that's why it's really important to get that balance right, so that we can move towards that profitability that we're expecting in the very near term.
And Martin, growth in revenues outside Australia was particularly strong, up 35%. Pureprofile's biggest international exposure currently is to the UK. Are business conditions improving in that market, and how are the rest of the group's international operations finding trading conditions at present?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, as we said in previous announcements, the sort of Australian market is a year or so behind what's going on in US and UK. And definitely, I was just in the UK a few weeks ago, and we're definitely seeing green shoots of recovery now. So I think for us, it's twofold. So we're seeing on average, we believe the industry is growing at about 4% a year. I mean, obviously, we grew at 23% last year in data and insights, which is fantastic. And then on top of that, you're now starting to see the tailwinds coming through from green shoots recovery. Most of our growth is from winning market share. So we're doing it better than our competitors.
And Mel, cash at the end of June was 4.7 million, and and debt remains at 3 million, with the facility expiring in December 2023. Do you feel confident that you'll refinance this facility, and how are you viewing the interest costs going forward?
Yeah, that's correct. Finola, the debt is due for renewal at the end of December. We're really well progressed with refinancing that debt, and we expect to have that done well before the time frame, and most likely well before we release our finalised audited results at the end of September. With regards to the interest or the interest costs or the interest rates, you can expect them to be broadly in line with what we're paying now.
And CapEx came down considerably over the past 4 years. Will the investment in generative AI change the CapEx profile for the business?
Yeah. So you can expect no material change to our CapEx profile over the coming year and the year after. In fact, actually, we've got 3 AI initiatives in the business at the moment, which is fantastic within our existing CapEx wallet. One that I can talk to you about is actually using generative AI for multi-language translation. So presently, we would be outsourcing that to a third party and obviously paying for those services. And that is now being brought back in-house as we have the tools through AI to enable us to do multi-language translations ourselves. So that's a really fabulous initiative that we've rolled out in the last 6 months within our AI strategy.
And Martin, you've highlighted international expansion, both organically and in partnership, as a key plank for future expansion. Can you talk about the efforts you're making there?
Yeah, so it's different by market. So when we look at Asia, that growth in Asia is coming through us and our sales force going out and actually speaking and winning clients. And we have much more of an end client brand focused business in Asia, Southeast Asia. And in that industry or that business, it actually is made up of 5 or 6 different markets, all different languages. Head offices in Singapore. We just opened an Indonesian office a couple of months ago, and now we have 2 commercial people supported out of our Singapore office. So we'll continue to see that growth in Southeast Asia. In UK, we're now up to about 20 people in the UK office. To your point, it is the fastest growing of our offices. And that's, again, going out, speaking to clients, bringing in commercial people, and then their Rolodex or their clients then coming across Pureprofile, trying us out and finding we're better than elsewhere, and so sticking with us and growing with us. And then in mainland Europe, similar to Southeast Asia. So our main office in mainland Europe is in the Netherlands, and that's growing out from there. A lot of direct to brand work, and a lot of work growing those salespeople and then direct client relationships. And in the US, we won a new client last year in the US from somebody who just started in the business. And so that came in as a top 5 client from 0 beforehand. But the main growth is going to come from partnerships. So the US especially, it's, as I've said before, it's 54% of our total market, global market as the data and insights industry. And so rather than just turning up with a Me Too offering, we've seen that steady growth from $1 to $2 to $3 to $4 million. But actually the step change will come from having a partnership. So actively looking at partners at the moment, talking to possible partners, running some tests and trials with companies at the moment. And once we've secured that large audience, then we will overlay commercial people on that and have a proper entry into the US market.
Well, thank you, Martin and Mel, for joining me today to discuss the FY23 results. I'm looking forward to catching up with you over the course of the next 12 months to check on Pureprofile's progress.